guys, this is Christy Fulk with Create with Christy. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the US. Well, today I'm going to show you how great that Natural Touch specialty paper from the Butterfly Bouquet promotion that Stampin' Up! Is having right now, how great it looks with other stamp sets. It doesn't just have to be with that butterfly set. I'm going to be using the Simply Succulents. And here's the bundle. This is in the January to June mini catalog. I think this is so pretty. This is the first card I've made with it. You're thinking, oh, that looks like a nice little set. There's even another sheet. We've got this, it almost makes like a laser cut type die cut, or you can use it as a stencil. So many different things you can do with this. And I haven't got to use this die yet, but I plan to, don't worry. So if you buy these together as a bundle, you save 10%. And the die set is called Potted Succulents dice, just in case you wanted to know that. And I'm also going to be using the Painted Texture 3D folder. Now this one, as I'm recording this is March 18th. It is not available, but it says they're hoping to get a shipment in about a week or so. So hopefully this will be available for you to purchase again. And if you if you do have it, then you're set. If you don't, you could use that, I can't remember the name of it, Old World embossing folder, Old World paper. It's in the annual catalog, and that would look good too. Okay, now if you would like to stamp along with me, just pause this video, go down to the video description and find my blog post link. Click on that and you'll find the dimensions for the paper, all your supplies, everything you need to make this card, and then you can come back and make it with me. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. First off, we want that card base. This is a purple posy piece, and this is one of the one of the end colors that's going to retire very soon. The retired list comes out next week. I think it's March 24th, I think is when it comes out. So this is one of the really pretty colors. There's also Seaside Spray, Rococo Rose, and the Rococo Rose cardstock's not available right now. Hopefully they're planning on getting another shipment in though. Let's see, what else do we have? Terracotta Tile and Pretty Peacock. So some really, really nice colors. I'm going to miss them a lot. So let's go ahead and fold this in half. Like I said, this is a 5.5 by 8.5. You always want to get those corners lined up. Once they are, then grab your bone folder, get it all ready to go. And we'll go ahead and put a couple layers on this before we get started with the stamping. Grab a piece of not Seaside Spray, just talked about that color, Soft Sea Foam. This is a 4 by 5.25. And then you also want a piece of Hydrangea Hill Designer Series paper. This is in the January to June mini catalog also. We've got this real pretty design here, but I was wanting a more laid back design. I don't know if you want to say muted, just not as detailed. So I really like that a lot. So we're going to be using this one. This is a 1 inch by 5.25. Grab my seal. I know you're probably like, how can you be covering up that beautiful hydrangea? But there's still plenty more for another card. So I'm going to turn this a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. And I always put flat layers on before I put the base layer onto my card, just in case it might be a little too long. Oh, it looks like it's fine. Sometimes you might have a little cardstock sticking up. You can just turn it over and cut that little spot off. But that's why I can put it on now. I want to get that Designer Series paper on first before I did that though, just in case I cut it too long. And I do want the DSP, and that's Designer Series paper, on the right side. And you can put it on the left side if you want to too. That's just the look I liked. Okay, so we've got the card base ready, and now we'll get some stamping. You need a 1/4 sheet of basic white. So this is a 4 1/4 by 5.5. And I still, even though this is a rubber stamp set, cling stamp set, I'm still going to use my Stampin' Pierce mat, especially when I use larger images. I still like this base. You definitely want this for photopolymer, but I really like it with my cling stamps too. So I'm going to ink the big succulent stamp with the Tuxedo Black. And whenever I use my Tuxedo Black, I always twist a little bit because I think it inks up a little better that way. And then I pounce on it just a little bit to get rid of any lines or streaks I might have made twisting. And we are going to stamp this right over here on the side. Doesn't matter which side because we're going to be die cutting it. But I want to have room to do my pot and my thanks. Isn't that image pretty? I really like that a lot. Okay, so now we'll grab the pot. Don't ask me why I'm using an English accent to say pot. Okay, I'm going to put this right over here. Kind of leave a little extra room because we might be able to die cut all these at one time. Then I'm going to bring in my thanks. Has some nice greetings, this set does too. We're going to stamp that right here. And now we'll go ahead and do some coloring. I'm going to use my Stampin' Blends. I know I use those a lot. Let's go ahead and color I'm going to take the pad out of the way for right now. I'm going to do the pot. We're going to grab soft suede Stampin' Blends. And I'm also going to grab my color lifter. You'll see why in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and color with my dark soft suede everything I want to be dark. So I'm going to do this little middle section. So I'm not going to do a lot of blending, but I am going to do some. I'm going to put a little bit right here along the top and this little rim down here. And it's okay if I'm going outside of that rim on the top because I was planning on making that bottom part a little dark anyway. And I decided to have, maybe the sun can be going this way. So we're going to have a little dark area over here. I'm just going to do it jagged. You don't want a straight line over here because you want it to look a little more natural. And we'll go ahead and do a little bit over here too. Okay, that looks pretty good. So we've got that ready. Now I'm going to take my light soft suede. There are too many softs in this set. I was going to say soft seafoam. This is soft suede. Go ahead and color everything in, and I am going to intentionally go over the dark areas where they come together so they blend a little bit. You can see how it's a little too dark of a difference here right now. Let me go ahead and color in the rest of this. Sometimes it helps to let it dry a little bit and then go back and do some more blending. So I've got that all colored in. I'm going to do this again where they meet. See, it's starting to blend a little better. I don't know if you can tell that. That's not as near. See that nice little gradual look? Now this I'm going to leave a little bit darker. I kind of like that. But see, it's a little gradual. And then I thought, you know what? A lot of times we want to make this look kind of rounded because pots aren't flat. So I'm going to take my color lifter. I'm just going to add a little bit right here so it makes it look like it's shining a little bit because it's kind of sticking out since it's round. Let it sit for a minute. I don't know if you can tell, it's starting to lighten up a little bit. I'm going to do a little bit more, maybe a little bit right up here. And that's going to lighten that up just a little bit. So it's starting to lighten up, so it just makes it look a little more rounded. Okay, so that's all done. Now we're going to start doing the succulents. Now, if you've seen succulents, you know how many different colors they come in. So many. I'm going to do this big one because this one takes a little more explaining. I'm going to take my mint macaron and I'm going to do some little dark areas with it. Probably the inner parts of the petals. So just do it like this with my mint macaron. I'll just keep doing this in different areas. Like the center part, I think I want just the whole center part to be dark. And just keep coloring this in until all those bottom parts of the petals are colored in with the dark mint macaron. Okay, I think I've got all the dark mint macaron done. Now I'm going to grab my light mint macaron and color in the whole thing now and do like what I did with the pot. I'm going to intentionally go over all of the dark. First I'm just going to color it all in really good. And then I'm going to go back and blend some more. Okay, it looks pretty good. I just kept blending after I got everything colored in until it looked good to me. So we're ready for that. Now, have you ever seen the succulents that have a little purple on the edges? That's what I decided to do with this one. So yes, you can use different colors. It doesn't have to just be 2 different shades. So I'm going to grab my rich raspberry. I'm going to start with the light rich raspberry this time. And just on all these tips, I'm going to color these in like so. So I'm going to do all the tips just like that. Okay, I think I've got all the tips done. Now I wanted to just have a little bit darker even on the end. So I'm going to take my dark rich raspberry and just kind of put like little dots on the end. That kind of gives it some dimension. Okay, I don't know if you saw the difference, but I just think that makes them pop a little more when you put that darker right there on the tip. Now, a couple of them, when I got to putting a little dark on there, I noticed I didn't make the lighter rich raspberry very big. So a couple of them I'm going to make a little bit bigger, but then I think we're done. Oh, and I see that I missed a couple of them for the dark. Let's go ahead and I've got one right here that need a little dark and one right here. Okay, that looks good. Doesn't that look neat? I really like that. Okay, so let's get coloring the rest of them. I'm going to do these up here blue. Like I said, they come in so many different colors. So this is Bashful Blue. No, Balmy Blue. Bashful Blue's an old blue. I knew I was going to say the wrong color. So I'll take my Balmy Blue. This is the dark one. And once again, the base, the lower part of the petals, I'm going to do with the dark shade of the Balmy Blue. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now we'll grab the light and color the rest of the petals in, blending where the two shades meet. Okay, that looks pretty good. So we've got the Balmy Blue ones done. Now we're going to do some in Highland Heather. This is a lighter purple than that Rich Razzleberry. I'm going to do this one and this one in the Highland Heather. So once again, we'll do the same thing. Start with the dark on the base and then go with the light on the outer parts of the petals. Okay, now we're ready to do the rest of it with a light Highland Heather. Now it always depends on the shade. With the Balmy Blue, I didn't have to do a lot of blending, but this Highland Heather, I'm seeing that the dark is needing a little more blending. You just never know. That's the neat thing about the blends. You can always add more, and then if you end up lightening up too much, just add a little more dark again. So I've got all my Highland Heather ones done. And don't fret if you're not sure if one little section's a petal or if it's an open space or if it's a petal for the other one. If you can't tell, whoever you give the card is not going to be able to tell. Oh, and another tip, with these when you're using the blends, use a light touch. Don't scrub really hard like you do with regular markers, because that'll hurt your tip, and there's really no need. You don't need to do that at all. Okay, now I'm going to use soft sea foam. Now, like I said, I'm using a ton of colors. I could make this one mint macaron also. You don't have to use all of these. But since I have them, I went ahead and made some different colors. So this one again, start the base with the dark soft sea foam. Okay, we're done with the dark, and now we'll do the rest of it with the light, blending the two shades together. There we go. So you can kind of tell, if you can tell this in the video, this one's a little darker than this one. So that's the way succulents are. They're different shades of green, different colors. They are really neat plants. I like them a lot. Now this last part down here, I'm going to use another green, and this is just jade. This is just a little darker. These are in colors, but these were the 2020 to 2022 in colors, so we still got another year with these. Thank goodness, I love this color. So since these are a lot smaller, I almost just do little dots at the base of each petal. And I really don't do all of them. I just kind of go around, because there are so many, you might go crazy trying to figure out, okay, is that the bottom of the petal? So I'm just kind of pouncing on it a little bit, just to get that dimension, because that's a neat thing about doing the shading. It does give it a really neat dimension. Okay, so like I said, I'm not going to fret if I didn't get all of them. That looks pretty good, mainly the center parts of it. Now I'm going to take my light just jade and color in the rest of them. Okay, there we go. It's all colored in. I like to color, say I wanted to make a bunch of these, I could just pop a movie in and just start coloring. Who needs those coloring books when you have stamps? So that's it, all colored in. And now I'm gonna get my die cutting machine and we'll get that work done. Okay, I've got my stamp cut and emboss machine out. I'm going to first go ahead and do my embossing real quick. So we need that platform number 1. And we need, normally this is a 3. They had a few of these cutting plates that that came to the Stampin' Up distribution center that weren't printed with the numbers. They're still the exact same plates, they just forgot to print them. So don't worry about that, just use that cutting plate. And then I'm gonna grab a piece of Whisper White. Basic White. We don't have Whisper White anymore. This is a 3 by 4.5, and this is what I'm gonna emboss. So I'm gonna put it inside the painted texture, like so. We're putting that white in there, you can see what it's going to do a little better, can't you? And I take that back. We do not want this. I knew I was doing something wrong. When you're doing a 3D folder, you do not need any of those standard cutting pads. So that goes here, and then you put the specialty plate on top. And this specialty plate does come with a Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Run that through. And we are ready to go. Isn't that cool? I love this. Now you see why they sold out. But like I said, they should be getting some more real soon. Okay, now we're going to do some die cutting. So we still want that one. We want plate number 2, which is the die plate. And like I said, all these plates that I'm using do come with this machine. I love that. Then we've got our standard cutting plate here. I'm going to bring these beauties in that we just got done with. And let's grab some dies here. We need the big one for the flower. I'm using this one for my thanks, and this one is for the pot. Okay, so let's see if we can get all these done with one. Make sure you've got the blade the right direction. And you just get that right inside. So you see the outline of the die, inside of the die is right around the image. We're going to put the pot right here. Do the same thing. And then thanks, I'm just going to get centered here. Hopefully my hand's not in the way and you can see what I'm doing. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm going to grab another standard cutting plate. I always put this down so this is down lower. And then I can slowly bring this down, and usually the dies don't move. That time they didn't. Sometimes they do. But I'm holding this down until the dies, once that big one gets under just a little bit, I know it's not going to move on me anymore. So now I can just do this. Okay, so one fell swoop. And we have our flowers die cut, our thanks die cut. And I love it when they give us label dies for their sentiments with the die set. And there's the pot. Okay, so I'll get this out of the way because we're done with it and we'll finish this card. Okay, I've got everything together here that we just did. Let's go ahead and grab a piece of Balmy Blue. This is a 3 1/4 by 4 3/4 piece. And we're going to stick this right in the center. Put this seal on. And I love that our seal attaches embossed pieces so much better than our snail did. I think my cards haven't been falling apart. I display them on a shelf in my classroom and I don't have them falling down like I used to. I love that. So we've got that on. Now we need a piece of that natural touch paper I told you about at the beginning. Now I should have got a big piece, but I think you'll be able to see it here. See the wood grain look? Oh, there we go. You can see it even better when I do that. You can actually feel that. So it is kind of embossed inside in the paper. So it is just paper. It's not cardstock. But I love that they did that. Now this is while supplies last, or until May 3rd or 4th. I can't remember which. But like our Butterfly Bijou DSP that was with this collection has sold out yesterday. So this could sell out too. So make sure you get this. But I think it makes a really neat tabletop. Now, after that thing I told you with the DSP, if it's the same width or whatever, you want to put it on before you put a mat or put it on your card. Well, I forgot to do that, but I think we'll be okay. Yep, it's fine. So if you ever forget, don't worry, it's going to be fine. So there, we've got that on. So that's going to be my tabletop. Super simple, isn't it? Okay, let's go ahead and put this on. Oh, you can tell that I made a mistake on the other side of the paper. That's okay. That's why we have 2 sides of cardstock. Just turn it over and use the other side. Nobody's going to know the difference because it's stuck down. You did because you're watching me make it. But there we go. So we've got the pot there. Now this I wanted to be popped up. So I'm going to grab some dimensionals here. Oh, there we go. And yes, you're supposed to have color showing on the other side. That's when you blend, you know you did a good job when you see ink on the other side because you want to saturate the cardstock. Let's go ahead, just for good measure, put one right there. Take your pick tool, get all these paper backings off. The way you do it, you just kind of scoop them up. Don't just come straight up, you kind of scoop them up. Don't think I got that last one. There's always got to be one that doesn't want to come up. There we go. Then you've got them all collected on here and they don't fly all over the place. So put that in my little dish. And then just put this where it looks good to you. And I want to make sure I still see this little band here. And it's okay if it goes off the edge of your cardstock because this is going to be within your card base. So that looks pretty good. Isn't that pretty? I really like that a lot. Okay, let's go ahead and put this on the card before we put this on. So I'm just going to take some seal. Make sure you get it in the corners so your corners don't come up after you attach it. Looks like I still need a little bit there. There we go. And we're going to put this in the center. I know this is a little wider than this, but that looks fine to me. I like that. Okay, now we're going to take the thanks, and I decided not to put this on with dimensionals. So put some seal on it. Oops, it moved on me. This one's also almost gone. There we go, but I think I'm going to have just enough. Now this one, the reason I'm not going to, I wanted to tuck underneath those flowers just a little bit, and it's hanging off, is why I decided to wait and put it on once I got it on the card. So that way I'd know where the thanks. So there's the front of the card. Isn't that gorgeous? That succulent set is so pretty. I'm definitely making more cards with this. This is my first one, like I said. I couldn't wait. I'm so glad I finally got to use it. And I love how that wood grain looks. That really makes it look like there's a tabletop under there. Very cool. Okay, now we're going to do the inside of the card. So this is a regular 4x5 1/4" piece of the basic white. And we're going to do a little stamping on it. Let's go ahead and clean the big succulent, because we are going to stamp this in a color. That way we don't have to color it in. Now if you want to color it in with the blends, go right ahead. But this is what I decided to do. I'm taking a mint macaron ink pad. I'm going to go ahead and ink the whole thing up. I'm only going to stamp part of it, but I think it's best to still cover the whole thing up, because it's hard, since you can't see through it, you can't tell if you're missing. You might have put some of the stamp that isn't inked on here, and you have a weird empty spot. So I'm just going to kind of angle it here. You can see how it's hanging off the bottom of the paper. Let me put my hand away so you can see better. Get that stamped, and there we go. Just makes a nice little corner and stamped image on that. And then I thought this stamp went pretty good with the thanks. Kind people are my kind of people. You definitely don't have to put these together, but I thought, oh, that would work with a thanks card. And this is also in that Simply Succulent stamp set. We'll stamp that right up here with my tuxedo black. And the inside's done, so I'll put this in the card. I always use a 4x5 1/4. Well, not always. Most of the time, use a 4x5 1/4" piece for the inside. Sometimes I make it a little smaller. Just depends on what look I'm going for. But this is the normal size I do. And it just fits perfectly on the inside. So that is what you can use with the Natural Touch specialty paper that's only available while supplies last, or until May 3rd, I do believe, of 2021. So you want to get that before it's all gone. It comes in 2 sheets of 12x12. So see, this is just a 3x1" piece. Think how many pieces of this I could get out of one piece of paper. So it's really neat. I like that a lot. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you had fun stamping with me. And if you want to stamp with me again, make sure to subscribe to my channel below. And then when you see that little bell icon that pops up, click on that and select all. That way, YouTube will notify you every time I do a video. And if you live in the United States and do not have a demonstrator of your own, I would love to be yours. And just contact me by clicking my contact me link below in the video description. And I can mail out the current catalogs right now. The annual catalog is going to be over real soon. We'll have the new one coming up real soon. And if you want the new one to be mailed to you, place at least a $50 order between now and the end of April, and I'll get one mailed out to you, so you have it before it starts. And then we've also got the January to June mini catalog, and this will end at the end of June, June 30th, I do believe. So let me get these away so you can see, look at the card one more time. Like I said, I really hope you had fun stamping this with me. I had fun making this. This is such a fun card. And if you could support my channel, please, by giving me a thumbs up or commenting below, I'd really appreciate it. See you in the next video. Bye.